Clash on the Court promo shoot, take one.
Three games.
One day.
Live only on Cardiff Met Sport TV. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Clash of the Court, the first Clash of the Court of its kind, and what a day it's been. We've had the netball girls unlucky against a very strong Bath side, and then, well, we've seen some brilliance from the women's basketball against the University of East London, where they completely obliterated the competition. But now it's all up to this. Not only do we have a clash on the court, but a clash of cities, a battle for the capital. It is Cardiff Met versus Cardiff Uni, and here to help us understand it all is Tom Guntrip. Tom, what did you think of that game?
Oh, they played incredibly well. The credit to University of East London, I said they'd be gritty, and they were. They didn't give up any point, but the talent of Lauren Psyche, Shannon Hatt shone through, and they were able to get key minutes for all the players, and Abigail Younker stepped up, and Laura Haveling was doing stuff. You've got to be very, very happy with that if you're Steph Collins.
There was certainly such a high standard, and now, let's face it, the crowds have expectations. How are this Cardiff Met team going to be able to meet it?
They just have to stick to what they do. It sounds cliche, and it is, but these games require you to stay concentrated. If you get caught up in the atmosphere of the rivalry a bit too much, you can lose your head and you can lose your focus on what you're trying to do. In this game, I think honestly the most composed team will win. Cardiff Uni, they've got some really good players. It's going to be a great game of basketball. It's going to be attritional, but both teams have also got players who can really get caught up in the moment in both good and bad ways. So it's going to be about the most composed team for me.
Well, at the end of the day, the Archers always wear their heart on their sleeves, but recently they are coming off 2 losses. What needs to change in their game?
Two very close losses, it has to be said. It's not like they're getting pummeled. The league is so wide open this year. I think the biggest margin of victory has been 18 points. That's nothing. Plymouth at the bottom of the league, and they've got a points difference of -7. It's a really, really close league. So just to turn things around, they can do with a little bit of shooting luck. Mark Morales and Keith Pitt, Sol Minty Walker, they haven't been able to put the pieces together for long enough. So with these key guys, if they can come in and they can move the ball, this will be the key. Cardiff Uni are going to be able to score. Are they going to be able to keep up if the Archers move the ball well? That's the key for the Archers.
Yeah, I know, and it's key. And at the end of the day, they have implemented new play style. Speaking to James Dawes before the match, and he said that it's working, but it's going to need time to come into effect. Now, playing on the show court, that causes its own challenges. How do you reckon they'll be able to live up to that?
It's a long court. It sounds a bit silly, but it's a little bit longer between the 3-point line and the halfway line both ways. So getting out in transition is both easier a little bit. There's more space to run into, but also the spaces are far more congested in a way. They also got to make sure they adapt to the challenge of the rim. It's almost psychological at this point at the arena. If you switch it doesn't matter, but it does bounce a little bit differently off the rim. So it's just about being aware about where the rebounds are more likely to fall. How does the ball go through the net? It's all the minor details that can really add up. So you've just got to make sure that they don't really think about it too much. They just keep playing. And fundamentally, if you can get to the hoop and you can score layups and score easy ones, then you just do that, and it becomes a lot easier to then hit the threes when you're not 100% confident in yourself or the rim.
And the travelling team, the team from across the town, Cardiff, what can we expect from them?
They've got a couple of really good scorers. Giuseppe Landolfi is a very good scorer. Dan Kukarabis, he's got a big body. He's a great player. We've got these guys have either played for the Archers in National League or currently do play for us. So we know both teams know a lot about each other. They train with each other or against each other all the week. They've got a couple of guys with size, and they got a lot of talent. How they play, it depends week to week. They're a little bit more up and down in terms of how they actually play, but fundamentally it's going to be a really even battle.
but at the end of the day, we are in for a stormer, and tip-off is just moments away. We'll hand over to comms now with James Roberts and David Jones.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Archers Arena for the third instalment of the Clash on the Court today. It's Cardiff Met men's basketball team versus Cardiff University's basketball team. As Kean said in the build-up there, it is the battle for the city, battle for the local bragging rights, and I'm pleased to be joined by our in-house Cardiff Met Sport TV expert in basketball, David Jones. How are you, my good man?
I'm very good. I'm very excited. There's a feeling of inevitability in the air. It had to be Cardiff. They had to be top, and we have to knock them off.
This is a crucial game for either side. Cardiff obviously sitting top of the league currently, but Cardiff Met close behind in third position. If they can win this evening, Tab, I hear they're going top.
They're going top if they win. That is a difficult task ahead of them. Cardiff are unbeaten so far this year. They're the highest scoring team in the league. It'll be quite the feat if they pull it off.
Well, judging from the expertise on show in the warm-up, especially from none other than Dan Flaherty, they were slam dunking like it was nothing. They were literally floating through the air. It's like they turned on zero gravity or something on their shoes, Dave. This is just insane, isn't it?
The man's a super athlete. I mean, when I picked up with Saul Minty Walker earlier, they told me that he was their star scorer.
Well, we've got the starting five for Cardiff Met this evening. Number 4, Billy Smallwood will team up with number 5, Dan Flaherty. Number 11, Sol Minty Walker. He comes onto the court with Sam Notice, number 10, and Bradley Abrahams making up the starting five for Cardiff Met. And coach James Dorr has selected the strong starting side. So, we're looking forward to the first tip-off of the game. Dav, this is tantalising. The tension in the air, you could cut it with a spoon. It's that tense. You need that blunt an object to get through it.
That makes sense.
It's full of, well, if you pull something tight enough, you hit it with a spoon, I'm sure it would snap in half. That's how tense it is in here, Dav.
Fair enough.
This is the final game in the triple header of the Clash on the Court. We are set for a brilliant encounter. And we are away. Cardiff Met win the tip-off there initially, and so they'll have the first attack of this game.
Good cut there.
Cardiff Met are looking to spread the ball around quite a bit in these opening exchanges, but Flaherty storms through the middle. He looked to have made his way through, but we've got our first penalty call of the game, Dav.
Yeah, he's going to the line for 2. Dan's shooting a very good clip from the line this year. He's very confident taking it off the dribble, so he's happy to penetrate off the bounce there.
So Flaherty will take the first free throw of the game. Nails it. First points on the board for Cardiff Met. And again, the silence will fill the Archers Arena now.
Nailing both, that's really good for confidence early on.
Cardiff University out on an attack of their own, and I'm going to bring in the Cardiff Met. Well, the Cardiff Met SU Sport-approved basketball expert, Tom. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. It's a great occasion, isn't it? Bleachers are pretty full. Cross-city rivalry. What else would you want to be doing on a Wednesday night? The answer's literally nothing.
And we have just witnessed our first fantastic three-pointer of the game. Tom, what other way to make a fantastic introduction to our live stream other than being the voice of the best score so far? Look, you mentioned, it's basically Cardiff Clash. You know, both teams vying for the bragging rights in the city. We've seen it on the rugby pitch before. We've seen it out on the football pitches. I'm glad we're finally in the court, seeing it on this beautiful surface this evening. Do you think the Archers can take a win here?
Absolutely. You know, we play Cardiff Uni a lot in pre-season games, and then naturally across promotions and relegations it happens. But for an occasion like this, it's a really special thing. A lot of these guys know each other. I can spot, one player on the Cardiff Uni bench that I coach, at least another 2 that I've formerly coached. Like it's such an interlinked occasion that it's going to be a really feisty affair, I think.
So it might have been all smiles and handshakes before this game began, but actually it's set to be a very brutal encounter as we see Cardiff University get on the scoreboard. A nice quick 2-pointer there for them. Dav, that's a great way to announce yourself in this fixture, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, a couple of great plays for the Met, but that was a really strong layup with that right hand from Cardiff Uni. Bradley Abrahams looked like he's really trying to get stuck in. A 3 from the big man there, and he tried to draw the foul, but just quite couldn't pull it off. Cardiff Uni get the rebound.
It's a big tussle there, actually, in the final section between Uni and Met, but the Archers will come away with the ball. And it's brought forward now by number 11, Sol Mincy Walker. He's looking perhaps for an in, but he goes back out to find Abrahams. Flies it in, very close. Very close. Dav, those shots are always beautiful when they go in, but it's so painful when they miss.
Absolutely. I mean, he's clearly feeling it a little. That's his second 3 from that same spot.
As we see Cardiff University come close to their very own.
Absolutely.
Tom, what is the satisfaction actually from a playing and coaching perspective when you see that arcing shot go up and over and it goes so close to the net?
I think you have to think about sort of the process behind the shot. Obviously, you wish that everyone had a very beautiful release, but you've got to think about the process behind the shot. If you can get a couple of passes in before that goes up, then you're a happy coach. I don't think as a coach you should judge how a play goes based too much on whether or not it goes in. You've got to think more, long term about the process.
Very interesting there. Sorry, just to interrupt you. Bradley Abrahams, who took those 2 threes, very quickly taken off by the coach. So maybe not happy with his shot selection. We've got Mark Morale coming in to join the guards.
Mark Morale, a second-year business management student here at Cardiff Met. Interesting enough, he is Spanish and grew up in Dubai and came to Met as a 17-year-old, so he's one of the youngest freshers we ever had come through this Cardiff Met basketball program. Tom, have you worked with him much?
Yeah, he's been part of the National League setup in general, but it was quite amazing last year. He was playing both under 18s and Bucks. It's not something I've ever seen before.
Speak of the devil!
I think that's got to, from my perspective, it looks like he's in his steps. It looks like he's picked up the ball. I think that's got to count.
There's an intense discussion now going on this near side to us here between the 2 referees. We're waiting to see what the decision is.
Yeah, basket good by the looks of it. Yeah, basket good.
Excellent. So Cardiff Met will take those points. That was a brilliant score, Dav.
Unbelievable. The Euro step through traffic. He's really had to work on his upper body because when he came in, he was 17 years old, like you said. He was quite underweight in comparison to the guys around him. So definitely some time in the weight room has really helped him with that contact down low.
Well, he certainly put his strength on show in these opening exchanges between the 2 sides. Uni trying to slip around the outside of their own player there, using him as a blocker, and the referees penalising Uni as a result.
I think he stepped out of bounds there.
It was he stepped out of his ceiling. He set himself for the screen, and then just as Billy Smallwood tried to sneak past, he just took that little extra step. And Dave Thomas, that referee, that's one of the things that he's hot on. Every ref, as I mentioned in the previous game, every ref's got something that they are hot on. It's sort of one of those things. It just happens. Like every player's got their individual play style. Every ref's got their own individual style. And if you set a moving screen there, Dave Thomas, you are going to get penalised for it. I've said that now, and he might miss the next one, but it was a good call.
Well, the action just won't stop this evening. It's the 3rd game in the clash on the court. Triple header this evening. Lovely looping shot there from Flaherty, looking for the net, looking for another 3 points. But Cardiff Uni come away with it with an attack of their own. Hopefully going to get a score, but no, it's intercepted by none other than Flaherty himself. But then an interception from Uni. Dav, what's just happened? We've seen possession change about 3 times there.
Yeah, well, that's a bit of a scrappy minute, but that's Giuseppe Landolfi. He's the lead leaguer in points per game this season in the Bucks. He's a fantastic player. He's actually scored 68 points in his last 2 outings. So expect to see him running through for a layup more than once tonight, let's say that.
The Italian stallion of the league, you might say. He's been on form all year for Cardiff Uni as Kean Quest adds his own points into this fixture for Cardiff University.
We need to play a little bit fast here, Cardiff Met. They're getting a little bit slowed down. Cardiff Uni are trying to play in the gaps. They're trying to really condense the space. If they move quicker, they'll find more opportunities opening up.
Tom, Cardiff Met seems to be favouring that long looping pass from way outside of the area. Is that a tactical decision, or is that something that they're just doing because they can't seem to find a way through?
I think it's the latter. I think that's credit to Cardiff Uni's defence there. Ideally, the long skip pass can force a bad closeout, but I think ideally you shift it around a little bit more, sort of lots of smaller passes, really try and manipulate the defence that way.
Dav, we've got a free throw here for Cardiff Uni.
Yep.
They've currently got the lead as well. Cardiff Met need to score quickly in response to this, don't they?
Absolutely. I mean, if they want to get a control of this game, they're going to have to answer quite quickly. And what I love there is just before that free throw was taken, Sol Minty-Walker gathered the players around, got everyone together, collected everyone's, and really got their energy going. He's really like that. Him and Mark Morale share the captaincy for the team. He's a real leader.
We saw Mark Morale breaking forward with the ball there, but the Archers have lost possession. So Uni again with another opportunity to attack the net. And you can see why they're league leaders at the moment. They're attacking with quite a lot of dynamism and intent at the moment, Tom.
Yeah, they're spying a slight sort of advantage in terms of the size at the guard spots. Giuseppe's quite a tall guard, and Billy and Mark don't tend to have that height. But they've also got unique size in Dan Kay. Dan Kay's a fantastic player, number 15 for Cardiff Uni. He's got such great control of the ball, great shooter. But he's got quite a large body that he uses really well.
A fantastic three-pointer there from Mark Morale. That is certainly how the Archers will want to continue, and they draw the score to level it 10-all. Dav, what a shot!
It's unbelievable. It's really interesting there. You were just talking about the difference in size, and as Mark Morale draws a really, really good foul there, that was really difficult. But by moving Dan Flaherty to the 3 instead of the 2, they are giving up size. But the other way around, they're gaining ball handling skills, they're gaining shooting. So they should be looking to play faster just to try and get those open looks.
Morale up with the free throw, and it's an easy score. I don't know why I ever had any doubt in my mind. It's always the tensest moment when the court falls silent, Tom, and then the shot actually happens.
He shoots it at a great clip from the free throw line.
Yeah, well, I think we were saying in the summer he's the best shooter in the club, and then Dan Flaherty turns up, and it's quite nice to have a competitor. But Mark's got such a lovely shooting stroke, and he works really hard on it. That if he gets going, then that is such an incredible dimension to have as a team.
Do the two of them work really well together? Then obviously saying there they kind of bounce off each other as Cardiff Uni make another score in this fixture.
Yeah, so there's a tough shot by Giuseppe Landolfi, step back 3.
A great pass across the court by none other than Mark Morale, and I believe it was number 11, Sol Minty-Walker. A fantastic score there for the Archers.
I thought he was going to throw down the dunk, but yeah, Mark and Dan, they do work really well together. They live in the same area, and before Mark had a few injury issues, those two were shooting together loads, and I'm sure they will again. And when you've got two shooters shooting together in practice, it just makes them thrive.
This crowd are certainly loving the start that the Archers basketball team have given them here in this clash on the court fixture between Cardiff Met and Cardiff University. It's a big encounter as a big interception comes in for Cardiff Uni, but he can't quite regain his balance.
The Ultras are liking that one.
Nothing like an ironic cheer, is there?
They've certainly got the crowd behind them in this fixture, and we can hear the atmosphere in this building. It just got more and more intense after that women's game finished. And if you're not down here at the moment, you really are missing out. But thank you for joining us. Full coverage here on Cardiff Met Sport TV. As I said, it's been the special clash on the court, the triple header, and this is our third and final matchup of the day. And in a way, it's one of the most exciting we've seen for a while on Cardiff Met Sport TV. First versus third in the league. So another big looping shot goes in from number 10, Sam Notice. That one, I was craving for it to go in, Dan.
Yeah, it was a little strange hesitation. You know, he thought about it. At that moment, you've got to give up the ball. That's a great defensive play.
There's Minty-Walker, and Mark Morale was able to come all the way forward with it.
Back-to-back blocks. I think there are two different types of block. Minty-Walker making sure he stays straight up, and then at the very last moment, he's got basically go-go gadget arms. He extends them out and plucks the ball, and then a nice chase down one from Gonzalez, a slightly different one. The ball was sort of offered out, but the hustle at both ends, it really sets the tone early.
Do you know what, Tom? I've never had anyone on these commentaries. I've never had anyone mention Inspector Gadget before. You can come back. I quite like that. You can do this again.
We'll see how many more rogue references you get out of me over the course of the game.
Well, Cardiff Met have got us back underway here from the baseline. It was going to be an interception by the looks of things, but the long arms of Minty-Walker extending into the air to recall the ball. Oh, so close.
So beautiful.
That would have been a great score for Mark Morale. That's exactly what Cardiff Met would have wanted, Dan.
Absolutely. That rebound's really, really important. And the behind-the-back pass Gandolfini.
He's got a lot.
Tom, we've got just about under 3 minutes left, and we've got 1 point in it. Is it going to continue like this for the entire game? Because I'm not sure my nerves are going to be able to take it.
I think one run will be really interesting to see. If one team hits a 10-0 run, Randolph, I'd say he's a serious scorer. And yeah, if one team goes on a bit of a run, it could be tough to come back in such a close scoring game. But I think that's a great timeout by James Dorr. He has this sort of philosophy that you might as well use your timeouts because there's no point having them saved for an end of game where you're down by 20. If you think you can stop a rot early, you stop the rot before it sets in. And you saw him sprint to the table there. And at down 4, you might not think it's panic stations, but he's obviously got a couple of adjustments that he's seen he wants to make. And I'm pretty sure he's going to communicate those well.
Dav, take me into that huddle that we're looking at right now. What is going on in there? What's being said to those archers?
Well, I think James Dorr's probably telling them about the dangers that they already knew about before the game started, that are all based around Giuseppe Landolfi. 5 very quick points. I think at the moment they're marking him with Dan Flaherty, and I think they need to get Sam Notice or Sol Minty Walker with those long arms so they can really get in his airspace. Hopefully those are the changes he's making.
Absolutely, and I mean we can see Giuseppe is already a massive threat to the archers on this court, even with that chilly left elbow that he's keeping warm with the cut-off sleeve. I can never understand those, Tom. I won't lie to you. Why only keep a small portion of your arm warm?
It's something to do with the sort of the heat of the elbow on the flexible shot. I mean, a shooting sleeve should probably be on the shooting arm, but sometimes it's well, if you feel good, then it might just work for you.
Absolutely, we know how fashionable these basketball players are as Flaherty looks to try and attack forward, but he's met by about 3 or 4 Cardiff Uni players.
Yeah, they've gone into a zone there. They've come out in a 2-3 zone, so this will be where the shooting of Dan Flaherty and Mark Morrell really needs to come into play. So they've just got to make sure they communicate that offense. If they can bust this zone open, that takes away a defensive option.
A lovely bit of skill there from Minty Walker to get Cardiff Met further up the court, but not quite scoring the points they would have wanted to. So close though. Damn, what a bit of individual brilliance there from Minty Walker though.
It's fantastic, you know, he's been really impressive so far. Even though the Met is starting to fall behind a little, he's been really impressive defensively and in the transition.
Giuseppe Landolfi again making another impact for Cardiff University, but Cardiff Met will want to respond pretty much instantaneously in this fixture. You don't want to keep conceding and not score yourself, Tom.
Yeah, it's all about runs really, and I mean, as I just said, that felt like a little bit of a heat check. I think maybe the way to try and prevent this is to go at him defensively a little bit, see if you can force him into either a couple of fouls or just to tire him out a little bit.
Lovely layup with the right hand.
That was great there from Dern, sorry, I should say. A first year actually at Cardiff Met. He's worked his way into this Archers basketball squad. It's great to see when freshers make their way into these high performance teams at Cardiff Met. A wonderful place to come and not only develop your professional skills with a degree, but develop your professional skills as an athlete, Tom.
Yeah, and this is something that's really key across the programme, is the student-athlete element. You don't come to uni just to play basketball. It's obviously a bonus, and someone like Dan Flaherty, who's already studied overseas, and as a student, you know, it's maybe a 50-50 for Americans, but certainly you come here to study primarily, and then you get to play a high level of basketball as well. And that's something that's sort of nailed down throughout the men's programme, the women's programme, the wheelchair programme. We make sure that everyone understands that your academics are a priority. You fundamentally come here you don't come here to spend your tuition money on playing basketball. You come here to get a degree and hopefully go into a career that you want, and the club helps with that. We run academic sessions, or we help with job placements, and you can get job placements within the club, and that's something I think we're really proud of as a club.
Absolutely, it's certainly something that runs across the board in all of the SU sports here at Cardiff Met University, and it's fantastic to see that all of these players can exceed in all aspects of their life here. And that's another amazing free throw there from Dan Flaherty. More points on the board. They've closed the gap down now to 2 points, Dav. A little bit of a tussle there in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
Cardiff Met starting to get back into this game.
Well, you'd hope so. They've only got 15 seconds to try and get it back in this quarter. So you can see that they're pressing really high to try and win the ball back, just to give themselves one chance at a proper full possession. But in the end, they give away the foul.
We know a lot about Dan Kukaravas. He plays here at Archers. He came through the junior program here. His brother came through the junior program here and is now Oxford University, but plays for me for Wales. We know loads about Dan Kay and what he brings. He's a very tough character to stop.
Very cool, calm and collected there from Dan Kay. But Dan Flaherty responds straight away for the Archers. Fantastic bit of scoring there from either side. Flaherty again with an interception in the final moment. No! Has it got in? No! They couldn't get it in just before that buzzer went. But that was a fantastic effort from the Archers side. I was right on the edge of my seat there, boys. There's 1 point in it at the end of the first period, I should say, the first quarter. It's currently Cardiff Met 20, Cardiff University 21. Dav, that was end-to-end stuff. I can't believe that 10 minutes just flew past.
Just flew by. I mean, with players like these on the court, it's really easy to let just the time pass on. Dan Flaherty's been really good, really aggressive, driving, going through penetration. But Saul Minty Walker, for me, from the Met, has really stood out. He's a real hustle player. You can see why he's trusted with captain's duties, him and Mark Morale. So I really, really like that. But Landolfi, I mean, I know that he's playing for Cardiff Uni, not the Met.
We got some highlights coming through here now from that first quarter. Just beautiful stuff there from Dan Flaherty.
Could have been called for a foul for touching the rim of the Solomon Milwaukee runner.
I think that's what Cardiff Uni were asking, but I think it probably evened out with the fairly obvious foul, I thought, on Dan Flaherty down the other end. So sorry, down the same end, but I think it's sort of evened out in the end. Both coaches complaining to the referees at the same time, and fundamentally, yeah, it was 0 points difference.
And we've just seen a highlight there of Giuseppe Landolfi, who's been a key player for Cardiff University. Before we talk about him in too much more detail, we're going to check out this replay of Cardiff University player losing their feet. But talk to me about Landolfi, Dav and Tom. How do you shut him down? How do you stop him from scoring points from an Archer's perspective?
Well, I think they made the right decision. They switched Dan off of him. I think that's the right call. He's got so much pressure on him on the offensive end. I think that having him working on their best player on the defensive end is probably too much. So giving him to Sam Notice or Sam Minty Walker would be my call.
Yeah, no, I think it's probably length you need on him. He's obviously got a lot of upper body strength. He doesn't tend to go into the post so much. It looks like Archers have come out in the zone here, which is a bit of a gamble given the shooting on the floor. But if they're gonna, well, I thought it was a turnover. It's been given a kick ball. There's a shooting out on the floor for Cardiff Uni, but if they don't hit their shots, then playing a zone might really work here. They just have to be wary of the long rebounds going off this hoop. We've seen plenty of games played on this show court where the zone is effective in forcing bad shots, but it's not effective fundamentally because teams weren't securing the defensive rebounds.
You talked there about how it was a risky tactic for Cardiff Met. Is that a statement of intent? They're willing to take risks in order to take this win?
I think there's nothing wrong if you take a gamble for 30 seconds, 1 minute. You don't have to stick in the offense for the whole time, or the defense for the whole time, sorry. So you can mix it up and not be afraid to just keep trying new things.
And Cardiff Met almost worked it through for a score of their own. It was number 10, Sam Notice, who looked as though he was going to basically slam that ball through the Met for the Archers side. But Uni were the ones that broke away with it just then, and they will have the ball back in their own possession. And it's gone back to that man, Dan Kay. You could basically say has been trained for this occasion by the Archers, so it's disappointing he's not playing for us, Tom.
He's again. Well, it's better for him to study academically. We're lucky that we've had him in our program, but he loves games like this and occasions like this.
Mark Morale there with a brilliant set of points to take Cardiff Met into the lead in this fixture. Giuseppe Landolfi looked to immediately respond for Cardiff University.
Too easy to get inside there to one of his favourite spots. They even in a zone, you've got to make sure you're closing off people's favourite areas.
Sam Notice took a bite of that a bit too early there. Mark Morale cleaned it up.
Dav, they look a bit panicked coming into attack now, Cardiff University. It's not the same sort of team that we saw in that first quarter when they were there in that section just then in the final third, basically, of this court. Cardiff Met are putting them under some extreme pressure and they just couldn't find a gap to exploit.
Yeah, well, I think the zone is working. They're allowing them to get to certain spots and then collapsing down, forcing them to play make a little more in that final third, and I don't think it's working out for them in this first minute and a half. Kick ball again.
Do you want to go out there and let them know, Dav, they can't kick this ball? It's basketball. You know,
Yeah,
use your
I mean,
hands.
clash on the court should be clear enough as it is, I think.
So we see Uni restart the game, looking for that opening in the Archers' defence.
Cooper Shannon so smooth with that handle.
There was a little hop and a skip through, and he suddenly found himself in a very threatening position. But the ball spilt away into Cardiff Met hands. So will Cardiff Met look for a score of their own? Oh. They do indeed. It was fabulously worked through the middle there by number 8, Kurt Dunn.
I'll take it. I mean, I think it was a travel.
I'm going to say I think he got fouled twice. I think he got fouled by 2 different players, and I can see James Storr not happy with that.
Boys, stop throwing your handbags around. They got the points. They've ticked the clock over. The scoreboard over. Just be happy. Just smile.
Yeah, it's the competitive coach in me. There you go, yeah.
And the referee has called a foul here. Mark Morale looked as though he was going to score there, Dav. It was a very impressive sort of around the back of the head.
Yeah.
Not alley-oop.
No, he'd already been fouled, so he was just trying to do that for a little morale booster. But yeah, the coaches there just called another timeout. It's probably a good decision, up by 1. A lot of things to talk about.
Definitely. I mean, looking across that Cardiff University bench, they now find themselves down by 1. The last time they called a timeout in that first quarter, Tom, they were up by quite a few points. So Cardiff Met have worked really hard and really well, actually, to close the gap on them.
Yeah, and I think what they're probably going to talk about here is how to break down that zone. They seem to be sort of running into slightly the wrong positions.
This is the one that you boys were arguing about. Lots of fouls.
I see the first
foul. Lots of travelling.
I see the first foul.
I think Cardiff Uni are going to talk about how to play against that zone, and this is where the game of cat and mouse in coaching comes in. Are Cardiff Met going to come out in a man and hopefully have wasted that time out? Are they going to double down on the zone, potentially try and talk about what the counters are? This is where, as a coach, like the more experienced you get, and James Storr's got lots of experience, you kind of know what other teams might run. It's hard to scout teams in this league. You know, you don't have footage everywhere. But this is, the cat and mouse. Do they come out in the zone? Do they not? And it'll be interesting to see how the next, I'm going to say, 90 seconds unfolds.
I'm going to ask you both again about the atmosphere inside this arena. It's electric at the moment, isn't it? Especially with the DJ tucked away in the corner. I love it in here. Let's come to more basketball games, Tom. Where's my Evite?
I mean, if we could get in DJ to every game, I'd be a lot happier. But for now, it's just fantastic to see so many people, and we've got people from all over the basketball club supporting. I can see about 10 different teams represented in this gym.
Oh, I'm surprised Bradley Anderson didn't take that himself.
A selfless pass to Notice to try and get him to score in the second quarter. A lovely turn there. Cardiff Uni almost found themselves scoring again through Cooper Shannon. The Aussie will be very keen to score more and more points inside this fixture. And Cardiff Uni are now trying to snipe their way around the court. But the referee is pull them up for a penalty, much to the unimpressed opinion of Ollie Thomas.
It's the same moving screen he's already been pinged for, and this is something I think you see as a referee, is that when someone does something repeatedly, and a couple of times you might do it and not actually commit the foul, but you might end up accidentally doing it at some point. Like, this is where any slight infraction will just get called because you've already done it once, and in the referee's mind you're kind of like, well, he's a repeat offender for that, and it can almost become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
So we see Cardiff Met now on their own attack, looking to move this ball around the park. They look a lot cooler and calmer in attack, Dav, than Cardiff Uni have been.
Well, yeah, these are really important minutes because you've got both Mark Morale and Dan Flaherty on the bench. That's a big bucket, and they really need to try and hold on to this lead whilst their 2 main stars get a breath.
As Billy Smallwood with his own point scoring
big
in
shot.
This fixture. Again, though, Giuseppe Landolfi responds almost immediately. And Dav, we spoke earlier about how important it is for Met to shut him down and try and stop him scoring points so they can keep this lead. But he just keeps finding a way back into this, as we see. Oh, very close. Very close for Minty Walker, but Landolfi, he's just such a threat, isn't he?
He's such a threat. He's really strong, and he's really good at working off the ball. You know, as soon as the ball's out of his hands, he's not stopping still. He's running, he's finding space, and he's collecting the ball and instantly looking to shoot.
His work rate around the court at the moment is admirable, you must say.
Yeah. Cardiff Uni deserved the bucket there. Gandolfi created a lot of space. He drew the double, found the open man. It was a really intelligent heads-up play, but his teammate just couldn't help him out.
Cooper Shannon will look to get the game started again for Cardiff University. The Archers just making a quick change. So Kurt Dern makes his way off the pitch. Off the court. I'm so sorry, Dav.
That's the first one, isn't it?
Well, that didn't last very long. Dan Flaherty straight back in.
Dan's got great stamina as well. He looks after himself really well. And in games like this, you can rest tomorrow.
Is that a philosophy he likes to live by, Tom?
If you ever sub him out, he's so annoyed. and then he's like, no, I get it, it's fine. But you know, no player really likes to come out. Sometimes we feel like we have to, but he's got such an incredible engine.
He just doesn't seem to stop. We've definitely got a tussle there in the end. And Shannon is not happy. But the referees will get this game started again with Notice, who's at the end there, ready to get the ball back for Cardiff Met.
Dan Flaherty's just directing his teammates, telling them where to go.
Looks like a 2-2-1 full court press here from Cardiff Uni, so you know, it's a bit of a different one to try and escape out of, but fundamentally the same principle applied to any press. You can get the ball in the middle and use a lot of passing rather than trying to dribble into traps. That'll be your way forward.
Like a bowling ball through the lane.
Dan Kay was sniping through the middle of the Cardiff Met defence with quite a bit of aggression. Sorry, defence. And that's what's being chanted, Dav, so I'm going to keep using that. I can't say defence.
No,
that's a bit too boring for this basketball court.
It is basketball. We can be American for a day, surely.
Get me a Gatorade and my cowboy hat. Let's go, boys. Let's have ourselves a basketball match. This has been thrilling to watch so far, and we've still got a stalemate. 26 all.
I wouldn't call it a stalemate.
It's just been end-to-end though, Dav.
Yeah.
There's nothing really to separate these two teams. Both physical, aggressive, dynamic, looking to score at every opportunity. How on earth can you even break the score right now?
I'm not sure. It's going to take a lot of effort. Someone's either going to have to get really hot on the offensive end, or one team's going to have to get tired. Because right now, the aggression from both teams is absolutely phenomenal.
Well, Danke nearly gave an answer there. And Landolfi looks to break forward for Uni, but it's spilt forward, but Uni still have it. Still confident they can get some points from this attack.
Good defense from Bradley Abrahams there, stepping out to the shooter. Just about lost him inside. Oh.
Bounced off the inside of the rim there. That's so unlucky for Cardiff Uni. But it doesn't matter because the Archers have broken away with it.
Got to get out and run here.
It was Billy Smallwood who went flying down the left-hand side of the court. Mark Morale! And one! With the score! Are they going to count it?
Yeah, there's no question there. He went straight into his chest. He's going to argue that he had a standing position already, but there's no way. Mark Morale's going to get that.
Mark Morale is going to have the basketball in his hands once again because he's going to get a free throw to add even more points into this Cardiff Met score. I'm just going to enjoy this now, gents, with you. This is a brilliant display from Mark Morale. And Dan Flaherty, who's stolen the ball.
Swing. It's okay, reset.
The Archers are looking for an opening. They're desperately trying to find a way through. Dan Kay says it's not going to be past him. Flaherty goes over the top.
Oh.
Just bounces off the rim. Just bounces off the rim.
Yeah, I'm glad there's no commentator cam. I'm jumping up and down here with every shot.
This is what we love to see, though, Tom. We love to see the passion here in the commentary booth. And we love to see the passion coming through the fans as well, who are constantly behind our Archers.
Ooh.
As a great score there from Cooper Shannon. Believed to tie the scores once again. Nothing is separating these two teams at the moment, Dav.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan Flaherty's really trying, though. Good hustle!
Oh, wow.
Scoring off a rebound. How has he done it? That is a superhuman performance, Tom.
Oh, he's so strong. He doesn't often miss when he gets to the hoop, but when he's around the hoop, he can jump. His second spring is amazing. That's a great effort from Dan, and it's a shame to give up an open layup down the other end. Just as I'm talking, it kind of deflates it slightly, doesn't it?
Shannon responded pretty much instantly there for Uni, so Flaherty will look to take the ball up. He's just a workhorse as he finds himself... Oh! He finds himself scoring instantly in response. He's seen Cooper Shannon's challenge. He's thrown down the gauntlet and he said, why not? Let me pick this up and I'll respond.
He called that ISO really early. He really wants to get after it himself here.
Can we see another 2 points?
Play.
This is brilliant stuff from the Archers. Bradley Abrahams not only scoring for Cardiff Met, but finishing off a fantastic team play.
When Dan's hairband comes out, it's like hairband LeBron. He just changes.
Got to say, off that last play, Billy Smallwood with that pass is really unselfish and is fantastic vision.
Landolfi was desperately looking to score there, but the referees have called a halt and Cardiff Met will hand the ball to Landolfi, for a free throw. Dav, what do you make of that 10-second period we've just experienced?
Well, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. How enjoyable this is absolutely ridiculous. But Dan Flaherty put his hand up. He accepted that he'd done wrong. So if he's willing to say that it was a foul, then I'll say that's fair.
Landolfi bouncing up off the rim and through the net to score Cardiff University. Another crucial point.
I don't think I've ever seen a ball bounce in that nicely in here before on these hoops.
He wasn't able to do it a second time round though for you, Tom, don't worry. Mark Morale being hustled out on the side there, and the referee not happy with it, the Cardiff coach not happy with it, and the Cardiff Met coach not happy with it.
Well, we've got the most obvious angle in the world, easy foul call. This is what this game does to you, though. When you're playing in these situations, you get caught up in it, and you might not realise you fouled. But also, the complaints from 30 feet away are going to get ignored. But yeah, that's an obvious foul, and I'm pretty sure even if Coach Fluke was stood over here, he'd say it as well.
Yeah, from his perspective, though, I can understand.
Yeah.
Well, Cardiff Met were looking to try and score because they had the ball in attack, but it's been turned over by Dan Kay in the middle of the court there for Cardiff Uni. Cooper Shannon.
That was poor. To give him that open lane like that was poor. I mean, I'm pretty sure that was a clean strip, but that was poor to give him the opportunity to drive in the first place.
Well, the Aussie will now have a chance to give Cardiff Uni some more points and close the gap to Cardiff Met. It currently stands at just a 3-point gap. Cardiff Met up 34-31 here in the Archers Arena against Cardiff Uni. This is certainly proving to be quite the show this evening, gentlemen.
Absolutely. I mean, Clash on the Court it's an apt name. This really does feel like a special clash. It's not just a regular Wednesday night. There's something about this. Cardiff Uni being unbeaten, being top of the league, and then to have this whole day of sport here at Archers Arena culminating in a Cardiff clash that I think we all needed.
We've got a timeout here from the Cardiff Met team, and so far they really have been taking it to Cardiff University in this second quarter. It's been a much better performance overall from the Archers compared to their outing in the first period. Tom, if you were a coach in that huddle right now, what would you be saying to your team at half-time in this timeout?
Well, I think James Dawes saying there, we just need to keep it calm. Some of the passing is getting a little bit crazy. If you just move it around 3, 4, 5 times, they will start to break down. It's when you try and drive off 2 passes, they're overloading on their help. The other thing is, if you can go into half-time, we've got 1 minute 57 left, if you can go into half-time with a 6-point lead, then that's massive in a game like this. If you think about how few points are being scored, said at the start of the game it was going to be attritional, and 34-33 after 18 minutes certainly showing that. I just think they want to come out and they just want to go on a little run here. They just want to come out, get 2 stops and 2 scores, and they can go into half-time buzzing. You've got to make sure you finish the half strong here. Both teams are going to be saying, this is our last chance for a little knockout blow. If Cardiff Uni going up 5, it changes their complexion. If Cardiff Uni going down 5, then both teams are going to feel very different.
Do we think, Dav, that Cardiff Met will be looking to get Mark Morale and Dan Flaherty on the ball constantly then to try and get those 6 points that Tom's been speaking about?
Yeah.
They'll prove to be so crucial.
I imagine since it's such a short amount of time left and they've just got a chance to have a little breather and some water, they're going to be running it through those 2 boys.
We see Morale on the ball just now, but he's passed it off to Minty Walker and it's back with Morale.
Dan's trying to get free.
This ball is moving around with such a tempo that I can't quite keep up with who's staying on it. Oh, so close there from Flaherty, but it's picked up from number 9, Cohen Goddard. Another fresher in this side, a first-year sport coaching student here at Cardiff Met. What a fantastic score. Great teamwork there and great awareness, actually, from Goddard.
I don't like that. They put Dan Flaherty back on Gandolfi. Don't like it.
You would prefer to see Dan Flaherty further up the court, would you?
Well, I'd rather him focus in on the offensive, since he's such a core part of the team on that end. It just feels like we're asking a bit much of him to deal with the guy who's been scoring more points than anyone else in the league this year.
Well, we're coming down towards the final minute of the half, let alone just this quarter. And it will be Minty Walker that will take the free throw for Cardiff Met.
Big shot.
Hopefully add some more points onto the Archers total. The first shot is good. This is all going to plan for Tom so far. Hopefully they can build up this 6-point gap.
Yeah.
I was a little bit disappointed by the defense down the other end. You want to force Landolfi into tougher shots, and he was able to come off the screen, and the switch was too low and not really aggressive enough. If you're going to switch or get into him, you've got to get into the good players and make the weaker players, in inverted commas, do the damage.
And we see Landolfi now on the ball himself, coming under too much pressure from the Cardiff Met defence, but it does result in a penalty call, Dav.
I think they'll take that foul. I mean, it was good defense from Solomon. He just got a bit too aggressive with it. His arms weren't straight up in the end. He was coming over and just manhandling him a little. But I think overall they'll take that foul. If he misses one, that's a good outcome.
Well, he's nailed that first one, unfortunately, Dav.
Yeah,
commentator's curse, is it? Do we think it's starting to come into play now?
Well, it came into play for me in the last game, so...
The crowd in the Archers Arena not making it any easier for Landolfi, but he nails both shots to tie the scores again at 37 apiece. And Dan Flaherty will look to get the ball forward. Hopefully Cardiff Met can get another score before the end of this half.
Time management really important here. They want to enable themselves to get as many possessions as possible. It's probably a bit too short to go for a 3 for 2. I'd hold on to the ball for as long as possible here. They've only got 10 seconds on the clock.
It was Billy Smallwood who was looking perhaps for an opening for himself, but Mark Morale with the 3-pointer. That's exactly what Cardiff Met would have wanted to get before the half was out. They now just need to hold firm in defence, and hold this 3-point lead. But Cardiff Uni with another great effort for a 3-pointer themselves, and Morale will play out now. We're into the final few seconds of this period. Morale gets the 2 points. He'll take Cardiff Met even further ahead. We're running down the clock now with 3 seconds left to go. Cooper with the lob, and it goes through on the buzzer. So a great score there. 2 points for Cardiff Uni to finish off the half with. But that was exactly what we wanted this Archer side to do coming into the end of that the second period, the whole first half, Tom.
This is a great game of basketball. It's so good. They made a minor adjustment there. They're putting Dan Flaherty a lot more as the screener in actions. You might typically put him as the ball handler. If he's the screener and he pops out, then he's in a great situation where they have to close out. And that also sucks the defense in, because you see Dan Flaherty, you're thinking, I need to be near him. Really opened it up a little bit more. It's kind of a little bit of a momentum killer that if that had missed, they're going up 5, they're all high-fiving. 3 with a bucket. It's so in the balance right here. I wouldn't like to put any money on predicting the winner of this one.
I'm not going to ask you such a tough question, don't worry. But I'm going to turn to Dav now, because I'd like you to pick an MVP of that first half. Normally we save it till the very end of the game, but I think there's been a lot of standout performances in that first section of the match.
It's going to have to be Flaherty. I mean, even though I think it's the wrong decision, he has been defending Landolfi a lot. And of course, on the offensive end, he's been fantastic. I mean, initiating play, dribbling, and as Tom just said, as the screener, as the secondary man in the action, he's been really effective, whether he's been drawing people away from the ball or on the ball himself. So he's been fantastic.
And who's been looking dangerous then for Cardiff University? Tom, I'm going to come to you. Who's someone that stood out for you? I know we've mentioned Giuseppe Landolfi a lot in that first period of the game, but there must be someone else who's looking really threatening for Cardiff Uni.
I've not seen Cooper Shannon play before, and I was quite impressed with sort of the energy and the movement he brought and the composure he brought. It'll be interesting to see how he fares in the second half. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. I thought that Dan Kukuravas had moments. He had a great drive where he realised that even though he was behind the level of the defence, the space had opened up due to a bit of miscommunication in transition, and he was able to bully his way straight to the hoop. They're obviously relying on Landolfi here, so I think the focus in the second half for the Archers will be if they can shut down Landolfi, then they'll be there.
So we've seen a scintillating first half in this match. It's been a great way for us to end the Clash on the Court coverage today. The third game in the trio of matches we've been covering today. We're going to take a short break here, but don't go anywhere because the second half of this enticing battle between Cardiff Met and Cardiff Uni is coming up in just a few minutes. Hello and welcome back to Cardiff Met's Clash on the Court. We've seen 2 games so far today, a women's netball match and a women's basketball match, and you join us here in the final game of 3 for the Cardiff Met men's basketball team taking on Cardiff University's men's basketball team. The score currently in favour of the Archers, 42 points to 39. And after a disappointing loss for the women's netball team in the first game, they were so unlucky to come away with a loss against the University of Bath. The women's basketball team came away with a big win against the University of East London. And now we see the men's team really building the drama for us with this scoreline so far. Dav, it's already proven to be a very close encounter,
Absolutely.
Perhaps the closest match that we've seen today, and arguably, the biggest match out of all 3 in terms of league positions, because if Cardiff Met can keep this lead, they're going to go top of the table.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. My only thing is that the women's also went top today with their win. So it could be a big day for both teams in both of their respective competitions. We could finish Clash of the Court with 2 new first place basketball teams.
It's a big basketball battering by Cardiff Met. I love my illustration, Tom, as if you couldn't tell already. It's been a great display from both basketball sides out on this court so far today. Tom, talk me through that first half. The scoreline at the moment, 42 points to 39. Was it as dominant display from the Archers as the scoreline makes it look?
I think we said at the start of the game it's going to be an attritional game, and it felt like it. Both teams playing very physical. Both teams trying to make it very difficult to score inside. More help from Cardiff Met, and more sort of early help and gapping from Cardiff Uni. It's going to be a very interesting second half in terms of if one team could just get their offense to click slightly better, all the defense is working fine. If you hold a team to under 80 in a game of basketball, you'll generally be there or thereabouts. But if one team can just put together a bit of an offensive run, not just into one timeout, but over the course of maybe a full 5 or 6 minutes, then that would be a huge bonus.
And we saw from that first half display, Dav, from Cardiff University, the reason why they are the top point scorers in the league and the reason why they're currently sitting in top spots. Do you think that they can actually continue this going forward into the second half?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely can. I mean, I've got full faith in Giuseppe Landolfi that he's going to continue to show out in this way. He's done it every game all season. He hasn't had a bad night yet. And they're giving up the pass.
A statement of intent there early from Ethan Morrell for Cardiff Uni to score a brilliant 3-pointer there. What a great way for them to kick off this second half, but Cardiff Met will look to respond pretty much instantly. Sam Notice on the ball there in the middle of the park, finds Dan Flaherty. It just bounced off his foot, so he lost control. But a beautiful 3-pointer of their own from Billy Smallwood means that they've responded just how they would want to against Cardiff Uni. Quickly, just to interrupt the basketball proceedings, Sav, I know you're going to hate me for this, but there were 2 big wins in the football today. The women's ended up winning 4-0 against Portsmouth and the men's 5-1 against Bristol. So Cardiff Met has seen a lot of success on campus today and across their sports teams, as we see Cardiff Uni constantly harass the basketball net there at the Cardiff Met end zone.
Lovely pass.
A brilliant layoff to Flaherty, sees him score again for the Archers. They are starting off this second half, Tom, with a lot of intent.
Yeah, and this is the key. If they can get out in transition and they can show, and we see here it's a great pass from Sol Minty Walker, made it look like he was going to keep going. Dan Flaherty can get up. They can get out in transition. That'll really juice up their half court when they finally get there. Wow.
Dan Kay with a great response though for Cardiff University. Dav, they will look to be responding instantly to each point, won't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like we're going hermano a mano here. I mean, the Met aren't going to get anything done if they're going to give up points as easy as that.
You don't mind giving up a 3 to Ethan Morrell if you had to pick, but Dan Kay's probably a shooter that you want to make sure you're not giving up easy shots to.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you want to make sure that you can shut down a lot of this Cardiff University team and don't give them too much time on the ball, because they are just so threatening when it comes to that final red zone section of the court.
Of course.
As we see almost another few points scored for Cardiff Uni, but no, it is intercepted by none other than Minty Walker, who's had a fantastic game so far, Dav.
He's been all over the defensive end. It's been really interesting. What I think is really important about these minutes at the moment is Cooper Shannon sat on the bench. So the Met really need to capitalise whilst Landolfi is by himself.
Do you think that was a wise decision, Tom, to rest Cooper Shannon?
I think probably a balance of what's to come and maybe maybe there's a tactical element about how they want to play in this in the second half. I probably would be looking to push him as much as I can, but you don't know if it's going to pay off later in terms of how fresh he is.
Minty Walker with a 3-point attempt of his own. It nearly went through that net, and it would have been a beautiful way for him to start off this second half. As Giuseppe Landaffi looked to snipe his way through. He's having a conversation with the ref here.
I think he's got a fair point.
He does have a lot of conversations with refs.
Is he known for this, Tom?
He'll make his opinion known. He's such an aggressive player that he inevitably draws contact almost every play. So it's just about making sure that, as a defender, you keep your positioning well.
That looked almost too easy for Cardiff Uni there, Dan.
Really poor from the Archers there. Just no concentration from the restart. I understand they might be disappointed that the whistle was blown, but that's really poor.
After such a promising beginning for the Archers in this second half, that's not what they would want to let Cardiff Uni do. And it's gone right out to the edge, though, for Sam Notice, who hits 3 points of his own. It's the perfect response, almost. Hopefully it will wake the Archers up to get back into gear, because they don't want to slip any further behind. Tom, they want to take this one to the wire, don't they?
Yeah, and I wouldn't be leaving Ethan Morell anymore. He's made 2, and I'd be thinking a little bit more carefully about how I defend certain guys. Maybe I need to think about Tom Caulfield as potentially being someone to help off. You can't really help too much off Ollie Thomas. He's going to hang around the rim. And it looks like Kean Quester's going to come in as well to put more pressure there. The higher up you get in basketball and the better the quality of the game, the harder it is to pick a defensive strategy. And whichever team here gets probably their defensive strategy most in place. We talked a bit about getting an offensive run together, but part of that is making sure you stop. So try and get that sort of defensive strategy going.
Well, we've got Dan Flaherty squared up with the free throw.
Interesting.
The first one not quite working for him, though.
His hair back neatly into a bun, and the shot misses.
Are we going to start a superstition now, Dave? You're going to tell me that with his hairband out, he plays like LeBron James, but with his hairband in, he plays like the Boston Celtics. What's going on?
I wasn't the one who said it. I wasn't the one who said it. He's from Boston, so you wouldn't mind that too much.
Well, he certainly nailed that second one, that's for sure. It was a beautiful arcing throw. That means it takes Cardiff Met into a 51-48 lead. We're only a few minutes in to this third quarter, but Tom, it's shaping up to be a feisty second half.
Yeah, it's a real balance of strategies here. An incredibly physical game. We're just seeing every drive there's someone there making it difficult. Wow.
Another great three-pointer from the number 13 for Cardiff Uni.
I'd take back what I said a couple of minutes ago. You're not leaving him anymore. He's made me eat my words there.
There's too many players on this Uni side that you can't leave alone.
What a pass.
And straight away, Tom Caulfield just slides it in like it's nothing. It's almost like putting bread in a toaster, wasn't it, Tom?
What a pass from Danke. And Danke's got such incredible court vision. Just absolutely brilliant.
It's really impressive that Cardiff Uni have not only caught up, but got the lead, all whilst Cooper Shannon's on the bench. He's going to come in, energise, and Met are going to have a real problem.
Cooper Shannon, of course, having a word with his coach on the sideline there, so I'm sure that his introduction to this game in the second half will be imminent. As Danke almost squared up for a shot of his own there. A no-look pass through to the middle, but it's just bounced away from the Cardiff Uni team, so Met have had a get-out-of-jail-for-free card played there, you would think, Tom.
Yeah, they ran out of Danke, and Danke's a master of a pump fake and then going one dribble and then passing off. They've got to be a bit more disciplined in the way that they defend him. So some technical discipline there as opposed to anything tactical. Just making sure you're doing your closeouts properly.
Well, there's 2 points in it in this game. There's nothing to separate the two sides out on the court in terms of skill and physicality. You do not want to go anywhere. If you have tuned in to the Clash on the Court special here at Cardiff Met Sport TV, you definitely want to stick around because this one is going to the wire. And gents, do we think we might see an overtime?
It's possible.
I don't think the staff will be very happy if it goes to overtime.
I'm sure the fans won't mind because it'll be even more dramatic than it already is, Tom.
Overtime is just so crazy. Everything that you do in overtime just gets heightened. I'd like to see Met just pull it out in regulation and save us a little bit of heart pressure problems.
I like your thought process there. Mark Morale with the ball forward to Dan Flaherty. He just makes it look too easy, Dan.
Really good hands there, stretching back. The pass is behind his run. That's really quite impressive that he managed to keep his composure there and put it up for the layup.
Shannon Cooper, importantly, is back on the court for Cardiff Uni. And it was Ethan Morel again who was looking to find a little bit of an opening. I think he found one and he was starting to exploit it. But the play pulled up by the referees.
He's looking like he might be just a bit too much for the Mets at the moment. I wasn't expecting that coming into the game, but he's seeming like a real problem.
And we've been talking about Cooper Shannon, but
yeah,
perhaps the reason is that we've been underestimating Ethan Morel over here, and we've obviously been focusing on Landolfi and Kuka Ravas, but he's had a fantastic third quarter. He's the reason that Cardiff are in the lead, I'd say.
Absolutely.
As we see the free throws nailed by Morel. So it takes Cardiff Uni into a 2-point lead here against the Archers at Archers Arena on Kincoy campus. But an instant response thanks to the wonderful play of Mark Morale and Sam Notice teaming up together. They draw it level once again. I'm not sure my heart can take this, let alone overtime, Tom.
It's just everything that happens is just so intense right now.
Dan Flaherty with 2 offensive rebounds there.
He just seems to float in mid-air, gents, doesn't he? He just sort of jumps, floats, and then goes, and now I'm going to throw it. He just pauses, and he waits for the perfect opportunity, doesn't he?
Oh, it's a fantastic pass, that. So I've got to say, wrapping it around the defender. But the thing with Dan Flaherty is he's got such a good second spring, but he's got such upper body strength that, you know, most people who can get off the ground that quickly will still get bodied out the way, but he's got that strength to just stay where he wants, stay here where he wants, and then pop it in.
So Cardiff University again with another free throw opportunity, but the Archer crowd not making it any easier for this Uni side. Keane Quest will definitely wish the crowd would be more quiet so that he could concentrate on trying to get Uni more points in this fixture and further out of reach of the Archers, and he does nail that second free throw. And Minty Walker will be the one to play away from the baseline and hopefully start a Cardiff Met resurgence, Stav.
Yeah, I mean, they really need a couple of shots to go in here to try and get some separation. I'm really surprised that Keane Quest didn't get both of those free throws. I mean, he's averaging a double-double. He's not the only person on Cardiff Uni to be averaging a double-double, but he's averaging a double-double in terms of points and rebounds every single game. It's fantastic, so I'm really surprised he didn't knock both those down.
Tom, you mentioned earlier in this fixture the magic marker really is that 6-point gap. You love to see a 6-point gap. It's only 2 or 3 scores, so it might be quite easy to get a hold of for the Archers. Do they need to try and get to that point first before they can not relax but almost start thinking about closing off this game?
Yeah, I think that it seems to be difficult just to get to a 3 or 4-point gap at this point for either team. I think 6 just gives you a bit of margin that even if you have a bad spell, you'll be able to call a timeout and regroup without having entirely lost it. Once you get to 8 or double digits, then you start to feel a little bit happier that you can ride out any storm. I think that's the thing. This is such a game of tiny, small runs. If you can, I don't feel like we've seen a run of 6 yet so far. If you can just get that together, you'll give yourself a chance just to cushion anything that goes wrong.
Absolutely, and the Archers will certainly have a fire in their belly after their last game week loss. A very narrow 1-point loss, Stav, 75-74 to the University of West England, but Dan Flaherty has nailed that.
Well, he nailed the game against UWI as well. He had 24 points that game. The week before he had 33. So Dan's really consistent, you know, even if it's down by 1. That bucket there, you got the and one, back down the defender, in close, turned him, upper body strength again to hang in the air, hold his position in and draw the foul. It's a 3-point play. And I know that we're saying 6 points is the magic number, but really all we need is a 2 possession. If it's 2 possessions, you can breathe a little. And that's exactly what it isn't.
Does it start to get a little bit dangerous though, Dan, if you try to breathe a bit too much in this fixture? Would you suddenly find yourself 10 points behind?
I think so. I think they can get a little too obsessed, a little too caught up in the emotion.
What a pass.
Flaherty nailed the breakaway there from number 8, Kurt Dern, who's reintroduced himself onto the pitch. And Cardiff Met take themselves even further ahead. They now have a 5-point lead. It's not exactly the 6 points you'd be looking for, Tom, but in that coach huddle right now, there's probably a lot of smiling faces and a lot of confidence in amongst that Archer team.
Yeah, they're getting out in transition now, but the key thing here, you can see James Dorr and Stefan Roti just making sure that, you know, the message that is delivered is in the right way. You have to keep doing what you've been doing. Just because you've got a 5-point lead doesn't mean it's done. You can't get too hyped and start trying to do funky stuff. All you do is do the basics right. And Ben Fluke's probably saying in the Cardiff Uni timeout, guys, it's okay. It's 5 points. That's just 2 trips down the floor, and it's even. But it's that situation there. It was less about the points scored and the way that everyone felt. You could see that Cardiff Uni guys start to move a little bit slower, heads dropped, and you saw the bench and the crowd. This is where home advantage comes in. There's plenty of Cardiff Uni fans. Obviously, I can see the women's basketball team sat just behind the scorers table. But that home support there is going to make sure they're doing everything they can to drive it home for Archers.
Who is the better team in that third quarter then, Tom? Just quickly, give me one team.
I'm going to say that the Archers have been better so far.
Would you agree with him, Dav?
I'm not sure. I feel like I'm really sorry to say it, but I feel like the Archers have been a bit lucky defensively. I think I think Cardiff Uni might have a point if they felt a little hard done by.
Do you know what? You nearly made Tom choke on his water. He was so startled with that response, Dav.
Well,
that was certainly not what he was expecting you to say, because
it's valid.
Cardiff Met was certainly on top in that opening period of the third quarter. As we see Cardiff Uni on the attack now, they're certainly looking for a way to get through, and it's Giuseppe Lanzaffi.
He's so good.
He's just so good, guys.
Sorry.
That was incredible defense. Sam noticed us right in his grill, and he still just like rises over him. There's not much more you can do defensively in that situation.
They've let Shannon Cooper run through the middle of the court. Oh, that was a filthy
big block.
But it's snatched away from Cardiff Met's Kurt Dunn. Mark Morale, nearly came through. Mark Morale nearly came through to score some points. But Gianni Gonzalez, a second-year biomedical science student, swiped in there. He leapt like a salmon out of water. What was going on?
This is incredible. I mean, this pass from Cooper Shannon is amazing.
Do you know what? Even Tom's teammate.
Double block,
and then it carries on.
This pass was fizzed into Mark Morale. And a great effort. You've got to applaud the effort. He did well to not commit an unsportsmanlike foul there. Made sure he got a lot of the ball and some of the arm, obviously. But he made it a really good effort there, and that's quite something.
We're going to see the block on Mark Morale here. Did they call the foul?
Yeah, they're going to foul, but
look at that effort there.
It's an incredible bit of play
from Gonzalez.
He didn't look happy, did he?
He really was a salmon out of water, Tom. I know you're laughing at it, but there's no other way to describe it. And the free throw, from Mark Morale was successful. So Cardiff Met peaked even further ahead, and Dan Flaherty is attacking with menace towards the end. But Cardiff Uni get the call from the referees, but the Archers still have a 62-58 lead, a slim 4-point margin separating these two sides. Dav, you said they're the better side so far in this third quarter. They're starting to come back into the game.
Well, I think the Met needed a bit more composure there. It was a fantastic play from Dan to get the steal, but he just a bit too hot-headed, went straight for the basket. He needed to settle down, but they forced another turnover there. Cardiff Uni really starting to lose it here. There's a travelling violation here. So
Shannon Cooper is not happy with that decision from the referees. He was just trying to double check there. I think that the referee had indeed made the right call, and the referee is certain, as all referees are, that he's made the right call. So Cardiff Met will continue forward with the ball. Morale finding himself in a bit of space, coming through just off the rim and just out of reach of Flaherty, which means Shannon Cooper again is attacking forward for Cardiff University. They're moving forward with pace, precision, power, but an interception. But a penalty call against Mark Morale, who seems astonished that it's even been called, Dav.
Well, I'm quite confused myself.
Tom, we're both confused. Can you fill us in on what on earth we've just seen?
I wasn't sure there whether it was just a natural collision between two players going towards the ball, or whether or not he potentially threw, and that's what the referee's gone for. I think he's gone for a bit of a grab and not necessarily a throw, but just a slight push. From my angle, I thought it was a bit of a 50-50, so can't really complain too much, but my Cardiff Met bias is coming through slightly.
At least you're honest about it, Tom. At least you're honest.
I just can't hide it.
And we're back underway again. Cardiff Uni with the ball in the possession.
Danger man.
Looking for an opening. Landolfi nearly got the points. And Ollie Thomas was not happy about the Met defence encroaching on his cylinder that the referees place around these basketball players, Tom. And a very optimistic throw there actually from Smallwood to try and get some 3 points on the board for Met.
He's up again.
Wow.
And it's down again.
He's on fire. Wow.
You said it, Tom. Morel is on fire. That was an astonishing action there from the Cardiff Uni player.
Is that
Cardiff Met need to respond.
I think the referee's given that as a 2. He's indicating he might have been just on the line.
Dan's working hard. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, so close there for Smallwood in the end. The Archers team worked so well to get him into the space. And that is the end of the third quarter. And there is 1 point in it. Tom, when we last spoke, there was a 5-point margin. Now there is a 1-point margin. Could this game get any more dramatic for us?
It's a classic Cardiff University versus Cardiff Met clash. These games never seem to be easy. Neither team ever seems to be able to pull away. It's rare that you get any form of run in these first team versus first team clashes. It's the sort of game you live for, really. When you want to play basketball, you think, right, I want to play in these sort of games. Crowds behind us, proper court. Look at this setup around us. What a day and what a game it is.
It certainly has been the game of the day so far. 123 points scored so far, Dav. I know it was going to be a high-scoring match between these two, Cardiff Uni being the highest point scorers in the league, but Cardiff Met scoring a plethora of points themselves over the last 3 rounds. What's going to happen now in this final quarter?
I'm not sure. I mean, I understand that when you put it as 123 points, it sounds a lot, but consider to what Cardiff Uni are normally scoring by the end of the third, this is quite low. So I've got to say the Archers, whilst I think that they've actually been quite lucky with their defensive performance here, they are stopping a very, very good attack from keeping its efficiency.
What was said in that team huddle then, Dav, from a Cardiff University perspective, they've creeped their way slowly but surely back into this fixture and closed the deficit between them and Cardiff Met.
I mean, if from a Cardiff Uni perspective, I think you've got to be begging for some aggression here. I mean, this game has been full of it, but who's going to come out on top?
Well, Dan Flat, as he certainly says, it's going to be Cardiff Met, because he matches their physicality, and not only matches it, he gets on top of it, and he gets Cardiff Met, the first team on the scoreboard in this 4th and final quarter of the game.
Landolfi thinks it's him. Landolfi thinks it's him.
It's a repeat of that second quarter. He's thrown down the gauntlet for Landolfi this time. And now Landolfi's picked it up and said, all right, I see your game.
They're marking each other now. Landolfi's marking Flatty, and Flatty is marking Landolfi. Who's the best on the court?
Great collection there on the rebound from Minty Walker.
It's a big block.
Big cheers coming from the Cardiff Uni bench from that last piece of play. It's interesting again, Tom. Shannon Cooper finds himself on the bench at the start of this quarter.
So I just had to wait to see if that would miss, because otherwise that's incredible shot making. I think Ethan Morel has deserved his place out there, and then they need some size to cope with the physicality of Minty Walker and Flaherty. So Quest and Thomas obviously out there, but Ethan Morel, he stole the show in the third quarter. That was his game alone.
Absolutely, Ethan Morel was on fire for Cardiff Uni, as we see the Archers try and attack the hoop themselves to try and get back on the scoreboard. Great work in attack, and Dan Flaherty has scored another 2 points, and look how much it means to him.
The body control that he has in the air is unbelievable. Contorts himself to such a way that he can just flick it in.
Morel looked to almost float an effort of his own into the net, but it didn't quite work out for Cardiff Uni. So Flaherty now has the ball in that final third, looking for a Cardiff Met response. Oh, so close there for Sam Notice. The number 10, desperate to try and add to this point score so far, but another Cardiff University failed effort. Another rebound and a penalty in the middle of the court.
I think that's a good call by the referees. And for the Met, that means that they get to bring in Bradley Adams, who's been very impactful when he's on. Sam Notice coming off.
We're seeing the introduction once again of Bradley Abrahams coming onto this court. He did have an impressive showing in that first quarter. Perhaps he's coming straight on now to be marking Dan Kay. That is a titanic battle that's about to take place in front of us, Tom, is it not?
Oh, they know each other very well. They're very good at winding each other up. And it really will be talk about a physical battle. But really, both teams are just loading up on either Flaherty or Landolfi. Both teams are just basically double teaming the best player. And it's an interesting way to see who's managing to get her through those defensive layers that are just being thrown at them.
It was Minty Walker there who looked to get more points for Cardiff Metropolitan University in this fixture. But it's Cian Quest who responds for the visitors, Cardiff University, and he closes that deficit down to the hosts once again. It's Archers 66, Cardiff Uni 65. A beautiful three-point response, though, from none other than Bradley Abrahams. Not only does he operate roller coasters, but he operates some thrills here at the Archers Arena, that's for sure. And it was a beautiful piece of work there.
Oh, Gandolfi, he's doing so much.
Dan Kay loves a no-look pass, doesn't he, Tom?
Oh, he's a very flair passer. And
great block there to stop Kurt Dern from scoring as he made his way rapidly into that red zone area. He was looking very dangerous, Dav.
Yeah, I mean, that's unbelievable, this replay here from Abraham. Straight off the bench, doesn't need time to warm up. First time the ball comes to him in the corner, takes it without hesitation. It's fantastic.
And we will get back underway with Billy Smallwood moving the ball and Abraham on it. Another three-pointer. Oh, just off the back of the rim. Landolfi almost found himself being intercepted by none other. Oh,
good defense.
As Cardiff Uni nearly score. I've just finished what I was saying. He was nearly intercepted by Dan Flaherty. He was supposed to be marking him. And Mark Morale went for some points of his own.
Coast to coast there, Mark Morale. He's got such speed. His dribble's so tight that he can handle the ball confidently, running full pelt at the opposition. It's unbelievable to watch live.
And now, speak of the Devil Boys, we are seeing the introduction of none other than Cooper Shannon into this final quarter of the game. And surely this will be Cooper Shannon on for the long run, Tom.
Yeah, I imagine that both of these teams are probably sticking. Well, Minty Walker's out. It looks like he's holding his ankle, but otherwise this would probably be the lineups they go with for the rest of the game. It might be Minty Walker back in for Dern for the Archers, but otherwise it's probably these 10 guys who are just going to see the whole game through.
Well, Mark Morale, with the flashiest basketball trainers I've ever seen in my life, nails the free throw. And it will be Cooper Shannon to get Cardiff Uni back underway with another attack, but Morale and Flaherty.
Good defense.
Closing in on Landolfi, forcing an error, but it's stuck with the Uni team. But a brilliant three-pointer there for Cardiff Uni. They're back within two of Cardiff Met. And the Archers take the ball forward now. We've got just about 6 minutes left to play in this final quarter, in the final game of the clash on the court here at the Archers Arena. It's game 3 of 3 here on Cardiff Met Sport TV, and it has certainly brought the action to this coverage.
That's deep.
And a lovely throw from Morale is gathered by Flaherty, who nails it for 2 points. Brilliant awareness and reaction there from the Archer.
That's just unbelievable effort there from Dan Flaherty. I mean, he's not giving up on the play. I thought it was a poor decision for them to be standing so stationary, almost calling ISO ball, but then Dan doesn't give up on the play, realizes that the shot's going to come back off the bar, and he goes straight in for the rebound and the strong finish.
Cooper Shannon on his latest attack seemed to suck in pretty much all of the Cardiff Met defence.
What a job.
Mark Morale went to go find some points of his own. Met still desperately hunting to put the ball through the net and get more points on this scoreboard. The emotions getting to the boys now because they know how much is at stake here. The crowd can feel it as well. They're making noise. They're banging their feet, they're clapping their hands, they're waving their banners. They know they need to get right behind their Archers in this final quarter. As we see the coach from Cardiff University come right onto the court to have a word with the referee, Tom. I'm sure it was a fair word, but is he starting to panic maybe?
I wouldn't say, Ben doesn't seem like the kind of guy to panic whenever I've played against him or anything like that. I just think he's trying to back up his players' points there. I'm not convinced that was a valid point. I thought that Kurt Dern definitely got fouled, and it's pretty much the same both ends, to be honest. So this is where, as a coach, you do try and manipulate the referees a little bit in terms of like, yeah, I agree about that one. What about this one? You try and get them on side, butter them up a little bit, and then you make your point and see if they'll change their mind. It's a lot harder to change the minds of 3 referees than just 2 or even just 1. But you know, that's I think what he was doing there.
Absolutely. Dav, what do you think was said in that Archers huddle just then? They're certainly looking like it's going to be a strong finish for the boys in this final quarter, if you ask me.
Well, I think he's probably asking Dan when he's going to take his hair out of his bun. Other than that, I think it's claps all around. You know, they forced Cardiff Uni to feel the need to take a timeout. I'm slightly concerned that Minty Walker is back in a warm-down top. But hopefully it was a promising timeout.
You're never going to let that superstition go now, are you, Dan?
Oh, no,
It'll be every game we watch Flaherty in now. Is the hairband in or out? But it doesn't matter, because Kurt Dern has scored the free throw for Cardiff Met. He takes them slightly further ahead. There are now 5 points in it in this encounter.
5 points, 5 minutes.
It's going to be the biggest 5 minutes of the season so far for either of these teams. Abraham's not giving an inch there to the Cardiff Uni defence, or attack, sorry, I should say. And Cardiff Uni now turn the ball back around again. Cooper Shannon moving forward.
Oh, great stand, great finish.
Good.
Wow.
That defence was fantastic, and you can't fault it, but it's just better offence.
Despite the best efforts of Bradley Abrahams, they were able to score again. They've closed down the gap even further. Abrahams trying a little bit of fancy footwork and movement there, but Landolfi came straight across the mark, and it was quite a clear and obvious foul there from Dan Kay. Is that frustration starting to come in defence, Dav?
I'm not sure if it's frustration. I think he just failed to hide what he was doing there. He did it right in front of 2 referees. Everyone in here could tell what he was doing. I mean, he's trying to stand in his path as he's about to run through him.
And just after some highlights of the season for Abrahams, we see the reintroduction of number 10, Sam Notice, for the men's Archers team. He'll probably be looking to close out this game now, rallying around Flaherty and Morale to get more points on the board for Cardiff Met, further ahead of Uni, and hopefully seal victory in what would be a huge occasion for the men's basketball team here at Archers Arena on Kingsway campus. But at the moment, it's Cooper Shannon who will take this ball forward now for Cardiff Uni. He tried the 12. And he found none other than Giuseppe Landolfi.
That's what he does. It's an even game. What a pass.
It was Notice who laid that back. And he's got the ball again now, right by the net. He knew that rebound was coming and he tried again. He just couldn't get the score for Cardiff Met.
Flaherty's not happy with that.
They've got away with that.
A travelling call comes in though. Is that lucky, do you think, for Cardiff Met there, Tom?
Very lucky. I think that's a timeout by James Dorn. A great decision. They've had the opportunity there to take a couple of easy ones. Sam Notice should have come down with that, landed, gone straight back up. But also, you need Mark Morale, Dan Flaherty. Those are the guys who need to have the ball in their hands. One of them needs to have the ball in their hands. The other one needs to be ready to shoot it. At the moment, they're going too far towards the role players. Get it back in the star guys' hands. Sometimes that's just how the end of the game works.
Absolutely, and we see the Cardiff University coach again coming into the middle of the court to have a word with the referees, because he might not be happy about a couple of decisions, but he might just be wanting to understand what's going through their minds when they award these decisions. Dav, we are all tied up again here, 73 apiece between Cardiff Met and Cardiff Uni here at the Clash on the Court on Kingsway campus at the Archers Arena. We've got just under 4 minutes left to play. About 3.5 minutes left on that score clock, as you can see. What's going through the mind of the Cardiff Uni team? Because they would have come into this game quite confident with how their season's been going so far.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no misconceptions. They know they're getting a tough game anytime they walk onto this campus. But they would have been very confident. My only issue is they should be marking that man, Dan Flaherty. If that timeout wasn't focused around him, they've done it wrong.
Tom, he seems to be like a robot. He hasn't rested at all in this game. He's rested maybe for about 30 seconds, I feel.
He is a machine. Like I said, he really looks after himself, but also he lives for games like this. Like he's a hooper in sort of the classic sense of the word. So he needs to just stay out there and get it done.
That was a flop and a half.
He really met the aggression that Dan Kay was trying to impose on him. And that will have fired him up because he went for a three-point attempt of his own. And now we see Minty Walker, who went to try and break away with it himself. But the Archers still have the ball after a slight fumble in the middle of the court.
Flaherty's calling for the
Minty
ball.
Walker again, just on the outside of that three-point area. Flaherty trying to use some fancy dribbling around Landolfi, but it's not worked. But it looks like the referees might call it in favour of Cardiff Met here, Dav.
Absolutely. I think that's the right call. They called it on Dan before he made the pass even. I think the shot was just a bit of an ego challenge. They're in the bonus, so he's going to shoot two. I don't think he was shooting. So, yeah, it's because of the bonus.
And we see Sam Notice just exercising his caretaker skills there with a lovely bit of microfiber toweling with his left foot there on the court. We love a smooth, dry surface when it comes to basketball, I'm sure. Dav, these free throws coming up right now in front of us, how crucial are they in the long run for this game?
Oh, well, every bucket from now on till the end of this game is the most important bucket of the game. Every shot is the most important shot. From now on till the end, you've got to be perfect or risk the consequence of losing the game.
Well, Flaherty is set at the mark. For the viewers at home, they are checking that the court is dry. They're not checking to see who's got the squeakiest shoes, because unfortunately the referee wouldn't win that battle. But they are just checking to make sure that the court is dry, and he's established with Flaherty. He's got 2 shots, and he will take his mark ready for the first of these free throws. He nails it. Nails it, and his team come in to congratulate him, and the crowd love that from Flaherty. And we're just going to fall silent again. And the second one just goes arrears, bouncing off the inside of the rim. Cooper Shannon, taking that ball forward, finding a really threatening Cardiff Uni attack. Landolfi looking for an opening. He might have found one.
Yeah, so unlucky.
Cardiff Uni coming under immense pressure right now.
Big
and Flaherty has stolen the ball.
Mark Morale.
Morale is free. He's open, wide open, and he scored 2 more points. Almost instantly, Cardiff Met turned the ball over from a Cardiff University attack and got points on the board, which is crucial in these closing stages. We've got about 2 minutes left to play. 3 points in it. No,
wow.
1 point in it.
1 point. Steady heads now. Steady heads.
Morale is taking this ball forward with some caution. Flaherty as well, eyeing up his opposite number, Landolfi. He's trying to take the ball around.
Mark Morale, they need to swing this.
He's in a bit of open space. Oh, again off the inside of the rim. But Flaherty is there to pick up the spills, score an extra 2 points.
They missed a wide open man there. They're so lucky that Dan Flaherty saved their skin. And he steps out of bounds.
That is a huge mistake from Cardiff University, Tom. This is a big moment now for the Archers side, is it not?
Oh, it's huge. Cardiff Uni have just used their last time out with 90 seconds left in the game, assuming I can read the scoreboard correctly from this angle. It looks like it's going to be Cardiff Met ball on the baseline. Great defence by Mark Morale. I think it's just Dan Flaherty's just irrepressible, isn't he? Not the best look in the world, but wow, what a man to just be cleaning up your mess. It's just unstoppable. What energy he has to still be going after the workload he's had.
Well, we can see the fantastic efforts there from Dan Flaherty. Tom, talk me through this play forward. Look at the vision from Morale.
Dan Flaherty's little in and out crossover with his left hand just shakes the defender out of the way, gives him a nice straight line pass rather than trying to pass it between two converging players. Nice little line pass, and Morale composure on the finish. Plenty of guys would be on the left hand side and think, I must do left hand steps, get their steps a little bit wrong, especially on this hoop. You can bounce off so easily. Really good of him just to make sure that he just gets to the corner of the backboard. No, it's not technically correct in inverted commas, but you have to score. You do what it takes for the ball to go in.
What would you be saying in that Cardiff Met huddle right now?
I think with up 3 with 90 seconds left, it's not necessarily about milking the clock. You still have to move the ball. I'd just be making sure that the ball ends up in the right player's hands. So there's always an extra pass to be made, but I think now more than ever, you're so tired. You have to try and sprint. Use all of the energy you have left, because Cardiff Uni won't have as much energy left. Both teams have got nothing left. You just have to keep going with your principles, get that ball moving, and something will open up.
Absolutely, because whilst 90 seconds might not sound a lot to other people watching in from home, a lot can happen in 90 seconds on a basketball court. And Flaherty is looking to make an impact of his own. He's searching for a teammate in some space.
Minty Walker.
The rebound comes back to Minty Walker. Morale in open space. Oh, just bounces off the rim.
Another.
Minty Walker again with the rebound. Flaherty.
Good decision making there. Good decision making to just bring it out, not take a bad shot.
Unbelievable. What a pass.
Oh, unfortunately just off the rim. Tom, is it helpful as players out on the court when they start to count down how much time you've got left to attack?
Definitely really does assist in your decision making, knowing have you got time to pass or dribble. And it was, especially when it's correct, very helpful.
That's a huge moment in this game, because the Cardiff Uni recent attack has come to nothing but a rebound. Flaherty with the ball again, working his way through the middle of the park, and 2 points for Cardiff Met.
That might be the game.
Tom, this must be the victory sealed. 14 seconds left on the clock.
Just make sure you don't foul, don't do anything silly. There we go, there's the foul. I mean, if you are going to foul, don't let him have the and 1. Yeah. This is the key. James has got 2 timeouts left. Sorry, Coach James Storr, try and keep it professional. He's got 2 timeouts left. So, Dan Kukaravas is quite good at free throws. He'll probably make them both, I imagine. He'll call a timeout up 3, advance the ball up the floor, make sure there's no funny business under your own hoop. If you're going to end up turning it over, you turn it over miles away.
This is going to be the most difficult free throw that Dan Kukaravas will ever have attempted in the league. With the Archer crowd making all the noise, he is closing that gap down though.
They all know him as well. It's that double whammy. He's loving this moment right now.
And he misses the second one, and Landolfi wasn't able to get the rebound. Flaherty launches it down the pitch. Morale has the ball, but we've heard a whistle blown for a stoppage in play. Tom, what's just happened?
Foul call across court, so Mark Morale's going to go to the line for 2. They did have to foul. To make it clear, up 4 rather than up 3 especially. You have got to foul there. The shot clock was off. Not enough time left to leave it.
Surely now, Dav, with 5 seconds left on the clock, 2 free throws to come. This must be the game seal for Cardiff Met if they're going to get at least 1.
Absolutely. I think it'll be incredibly difficult for them to come back even if he missed, but it's Mark Morale. He does what he does. I think that's game. What a day.
And even with 5 seconds left, Flaherty is barking orders at his team. Tom, he wants them to get into position, ready to respond to Cardiff Uni, who will surge forward now and attack.
Don't foul, just stay down.
But that is the game! Cardiff Metropolitan University have defeated Cardiff Uni 81-76 here at Kincoy campus in the Archers Arena. They have rounded up a spectacular day of games here at the Archers Arena. The clash on the court has been rounded off with a brilliant victory, which will see Cardiff Met soar into the top spot in the league. Tom, how big a win is this for the Cardiff Met basketball setup?
Oh, it's absolutely huge. Even this early in the season, every game has been close. But, not only propelling them up the league table, but just making sure you just need to get to 4, maybe 5 to guarantee your place in the league. We've been up and down the last few years, but I think more than anything else, that showed some serious grit from this team. They've been staying in games, and you just have to look at the bond that the Archer family has. Why wouldn't you want to play in front of atmospheres like that?
Absolutely, Dav. Talk me through how important that crowd has been today in this fixture in particular.
Oh, it's been fantastic. seeing people come and really support the Archers, it just gives you that extra little zest, a big boost for all the players. I mean, people filed in and filed out as the day went on. There were definitely a lot of people here for netball, then some left, people joined in, and this is definitely the biggest crowd of the day. I think people have got a lot of plans this Wednesday afternoon. But I think this is the best tee-off we could have given them.
Absolutely. It's been a spectacular occasion here, the clash on the court at the Archers Arena. We started off with a netball match. It was a close fight, but Cardiff Metropolitan University fell to a strong Team Bath, University of Bath side there in the netball. It was quickly followed by a women's basketball game, which saw Cardiff Met take a big win against the University of East London, and now we've just witnessed possibly one of the most dramatic games of the season so far. Cardiff Met beat local rivals, city rivals, Cardiff University, and they now own the key to the city. They've won the battle for the bragging rights. Dav, this has been a spectacular showing from every player out on that pitch, but give me an MVP quickly now.
There's only one name, and it's Dan Flaherty, MVP of the day, without question.
Dan Flaherty has certainly been on fire today, and I'm seeing Tom nodding along with you. But we're going to join none other than the MVP himself, Dan Flaherty, with our reporter and presenter, Keaton Tukey.
And breathe, what a game of basketball. And I am with the MVP himself, a soaking wet MVP, Mr. Dan Flaherty. Dan, what is going through your head during that game?
Man, we really needed that one. That was collective effort. I mean, huge games out of Mark, Brad, Billy, Kurt off the bench, Sol, Sam Notice. Like, that was, everybody stepped up and we really needed it. That was beautiful, man.
I mean, you could see it in all the players' reactions. You were first to every rebound. You wanted it so bad, and you could see it in that performance. What's going through your head in those dying embers of the game? There's 50 seconds left. You're there who needs to be making that shot.
I mean, even coming into the game, you knew it was back against the wall. Like, we really needed this one to stay in contention, though, win the whole division. So throughout the game, we knew, like, every loose ball, every rebound, that was really like a do-or-die type of situation.
And how much sweeter is it to do it against your local rivals?
Oof. Pretty sweet, man.
It's pretty nice.
Pretty sweet. Top of the division makes it even better.
And finally, how great were the fans? What's it like having them?
Oh, electric. Oh, my God. I mean, we're all dying towards the end of the game, but they brought the energy, like, especially in the last couple minutes when you really got nothing left in the tank. Like, they made the difference.
I mean, Dan, you were brilliant. The team was brilliant. The passion showed was amazing. You are the MVP. Well done, and I hope you celebrate well tonight.
You know me, man. Thank you.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Dan. And now we have James Dawes, the man who's been able to mastermind this victory. James, what are your thoughts on the game first and foremost?
It's obviously nice to get a win. Like this year, we've had some really tough, close games, and we feel like we've just been a bit unlucky not to get results. So yeah, fantastic to beat your local rivals. They're doing really well in the league as well, so it's a bit of a statement for us. It's a big win.
So what are you saying in those team talks, in those dying embers of the game? It got a little bit hairy towards the end of the game. What are you installing into your players?
I think it's just about like sticking to the game plan and sort of trusting the process. A lot of it was just about things we've covered in training, trying to bring them in with a bit of context, like how they can help. But all credit to the guys, they bought in and they stuck to it, and we got the result.
How pleased are you with how the players were able to manage the occasion? The fans were electric. What did they have to do in order to get this win?
Yeah, I think when there's a big crowd and it's a super exciting game like that, especially when it's close, so it's tight the whole time, there is a little bit of a mental factor. But we spoke about that a little bit Monday night. We spoke about it a little bit pre-game as well. I think although the guys enjoyed it, they were able to kind of keep it in the background and focus on the job at hand.
Reading next week, what are your thoughts for that? What can you take from this game to next week?
Yeah, so the Reading game's obviously going to be super tough. That's the fourth round of the National Cup for our NBL guys. So a couple of these guys will be in that game. Very, very challenging. In terms of Bucks, I think this sets us up really well going forward. Like I say, this Bucks league seems super tight to me. Most of the fixtures have been a couple of points, goes either way. So to secure a win now really will probably help us later in the season.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, James.
Thanks very much.
And well done.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you. So if you're just joining us here at the Archers Arena, what a day it's been. We started off with the netball where the girls gave their all, but they were against a very tough Bath side who got the win in the end. Then the women's team well, they put on a performance. They absolutely obliterated the University of East London and continued their stellar start to the season. And finally, well, I think we're all catching our breaths here after that brilliant Cardiff clash, which saw the Archers come out as eventual victors and some absolutely stellar performances there. If you missed any of today's action, make sure you're going to check the Cardiff Met Sports TV YouTube page, where you can find all the actions and all the highlights. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll catch you next week at the rugby, where the Archers take on Leeds Beckett in Bucks Super Rugby League. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Clash on the Court promo shoot. Take one.
Three games.
One day.
Live only on Cardiff Met Sport TV. Yeah.